Hi everyone, Bill Walden here, pastor at Cornerstone Ministries in Napa. Last week we studied Mark chapter 2 verses 1 to 12, and the message was entitled Getting People to Jesus. And a lot of our focus was on four men who had a paralyzed friend, and they were desperate to get their friend to Jesus to be healed. We studied three things about their efforts. Number one, what they did was difficult. They carried their friend on a gurney across town. We don't know how far that was. And then when they got to the house where Jesus was, it was totally packed out and they couldn't get to him. We questioned and wondered, were they discouraged? Did they want to quit? Did they maybe think it must not be God's will that their friend could be healed because they had no access to Jesus? We see in the story they didn't entertain any of those thoughts. They were not defeated by the crowd, by the difficulty, the physical difficulty of the problem. They found an outside staircase. They took their friend up that staircase. On those Oriental homes, they had flat roofs, so they accessed that outside staircase, tore a hole through the roof, and then were very creative, let their friend down with ropes, lowered the gurney down in front of Jesus, and Jesus brought healing and forgiveness to the man. So what they did was physically difficult, but they pushed through it anyway. Secondly, what they did was unorthodox. That's not a usual way to get to Jesus, but Jesus did not rebuke them. In fact, they were rewarded, if you will, for their faith. They had great faith, and Jesus accepted their efforts, as unorthodox as it was. I mean, they really actually interrupted a Bible study that Jesus was doing, but Jesus didn't rebuke them. He was fine with their efforts and their creativity. Number three, what they did was costly. Who's going to pay for the roof? It didn't matter to them. They were desperate to get their friend to Jesus, and so they were willing to invest their finances as well, or their time and effort, to repair the roof themselves. So it kind of begs the question for we who are followers of Jesus. Number one, are we remembering to get people to Jesus? First off, are we held back because sometimes things are physically difficult? Do you think maybe you don't want to give somebody a ride to church because you have to get up too early, or they live a little too far away from church, or you have an opportunity to meet them for coffee or lunch, but it's, a little too early in the morning or a little too late at night, or you have to drive through traffic or something like that? Is it physically difficult to get that person to Jesus? Don't let that defeat you. Jesus wants people brought to him. So fight through that. Fight through the physical difficulty. Secondly, these four men did what was unorthodox. So we don't want to be strange for the sake of being strange and blame God for our strangeness. But we also need to not be afraid to be creative in getting people to Jesus. Different kinds of outreach or different ways that you can minister to people and create an open door for them to get to Jesus. Number three, these guys did what was costly. Are you willing to spend money, your money, really God's money, which he has given you to manage? Are you willing to spend that money with the hope and with the intention of getting people to Jesus? Are you willing to go on a missions trip yourself or send somebody? Are you willing to fund a ministry effort? Are you willing to take somebody out to dinner in hopes of opening a conversation? What are you willing to do with your money? The money isn't to be spent on us, it's to be spent on the work of God. And so are you willing to not be selfish with your money, but are you willing to be generous with your money so that you can get people to Jesus? So if you're a follower of Jesus, consider four things. First of all, the banner is get people to Jesus. Number one, don't be held back by things that are difficult. Number two, don't be afraid of being a little unorthodox. Number three, don't be afraid of doing that which is costly. So God bless you guys.